Hi, everybody. Welcome to News from the Heart. You're catching us in the middle of a conversation right now that I want to continue having with you all. And it's one that floated around in my mind a lot as I began my yoga practice 20-some years ago and started developing a meditation practice and was not living in an ashram and was living out in the world and deciding when I was going to meditate, if I was going to meditate, how I was going to meditate, why or why not to meditate. And realizing that probably a lot of you out there watching this either haven't ever meditated or tried some different styles or meditate every once in a while. And here in our community, that's the foundation of our practice, having a meditation practice. And so obviously a priority in our lives for many reasons, which Swamiji will talk about hopefully today and talks about all the time. But I was just asking him what we say, how we look at people who are doing really well in life. They're happy, they're content, they're maybe in service and doing good things in the world, and
or not,
that may not meditate or may not think that a daily meditation practice is important. In our lineage, it seems like daily structured meditation is a priority. So my thought is it for everybody a priority? Does everybody need to meditate every day? Are there some people that might need to do something different than others?
I don't think that in any culture it has ever been considered important for everybody to meditate every day. But that is more or less, that is a class-based idea.
Which class would meditate more?
The upper classes, the refined and educated classes meditate.
Okay.
The lower classes, the worker people, don't need to meditate.
This is a mindset in most cultures.
This is a mindset you find in ancient India. It's a mindset that is embedded in the Mahabharata and the Bhagavad Gita. It's a mindset that you find in China. In every ancient culture, you find that the only people who really need to meditate are the people who understand that they're in this world to grow.
So was it in a way to keep a caste system? Because then if the workers meditated, they would grow and not want to be the workers or something?
That's possible. And in fact, there has been in every culture a mechanism by which people can opt out of being worker people, and that is they leave their place and they go off into some kind of retreat, some remote place of retreat and solitude to at least to search for a teacher. And if they're fortunate and find a teacher, then they build that lifestyle and grow in it and work it out however they do.
So, looking at it in our culture,
the thing we live in a completely unique time. You have how many, let's say, you have 40,000 years of Homo sapiens. You have at least 300,000 years of Neanderthal and other human species that that don't exist anymore. And we don't know too much about their lifestyles. We used to think that Neanderthals and other human species were in some way less intelligent than us, and of course, that's completely spurious idea. That's sort of in the same vein as, Native Americans were savages, or the British arriving on the shores of India to discover a bunch of pagan savages. I mean, the arrogance of human beings is really mind-boggling. It is, you know, the same arrogance that denies us the acceptance of other species like whales and dolphins, or chimps and monkeys, or birds, you know, or even plants. We deny the intelligence of the life around us, which is really, you know, a misunderstanding on our part, and especially in contemporary society, a complete disconnect between ourselves and nature. But so we live in this unique time when, you know, when I was born there was no jet airplanes. When I mean, our first telephone, which I had until high school, was, you know, there was no dial on it. You picked up the phone and an operator answered and you gave her a 4-digit number. And that went on in Connersville, Indiana till probably 1964. You know, I bought the first Apple IIe in 1978. There were no cell phones, you know, until I was probably well into my 30s.
Mm-hmm.
There were no cell phones.
And they were big honking things
Yeah,
back then.
exactly right. You know, you needed a backpack to carry them. And life has changed so extraordinarily rapidly that, you know, now, I mean, we used to see video watch phones with in the comics with Dick Tracy and Buck Rogers and stuff like that. But now we do it. I have video conferencing with or from India on a regular basis.
Now, with all of these changes, I don't know, I'm not that old, but in my lifetime it seems like I'm not that old yet.
I guess what she really means to say is I am.
Well, what I really mean to say is in my time, although I can't go back to no phones, no computers, it seems to me like more people meditate now than might have 50 years ago in this country. Or the concept of meditation is more of a household.
You know, I've been teaching yoga and meditation for at least 45 years. So, yeah, you know, in those days, there was nobody practiced yoga or did meditation, you know. I mean, maybe Thomas Merton, but even he didn't know what he was doing.
So is there a connection with all of these crazy advancements with jet planes and computers and phones and more meditation?
There are a few things that have happened. First of all, the inconsistency of the message of the predominant religious traditions in the United States, that their inability to square their message with the historical record, their contention with science, you know, has really undermined people's confidence in their programs. At the same time, that America is really, in many ways, a very religious country that is moving increasingly as we become, you know, sort of more internationally exposed and better informed, increasingly towards spirituality. And at the same time, with all of this, you know, blizzard of information, of input that is coming at us, people need some kind of context in which this information can be organized and they can make some kind of simple sense out of their lives, and simple sense out of all of this cascade of input from a million different directions. And then the third thing is just keeping ourselves afloat, paying our bills, surviving our jobs, educating our kids, taking care of our own and their health care needs. The pressures of living our lives in this environment has become so extraordinary that people are really forced to ask themselves, what in the heck am I doing? And, for me, it became clear a long time ago, I don't intend to sound, unhumble, but it did become clear to me a long time ago that we are here for one reason and one reason only, and that is to grow. And when I say to grow, I mean to grow in every dimension, intellectually, emotionally, creatively, but most importantly, we are in this world to grow love. And, very simply, humanity's evolutionary advantage has been our capacity for cooperation. And in our current economic environment, an economic environment, by the way, that has essentially been the model for humanity since the get-go, that is, and the model is the, strongest people. I mean, we could, using the terminology of CNN this week, we could call them the real thugs. The real thugs are not the people on the streets of Baltimore or Ferguson or Seattle or Portland or anywhere. The real thugs are the people who are sitting in the boardrooms of the banks, in the boardrooms of the insurance companies and pharmaceutical companies, these are and the oil companies especially, these are the people who are the thugs. And these are the people who are taking all of the money out of the economy and providing, our society zero leadership, and in fact, au contraire, through their political engagement, they are denying our society any leadership that is meaningful. And all of this pressure, there's lots of pressure. All of this pressure requires, even that we, can stay in connected to our own aliveness, requires that we do something. And meditation is the something that we're required to do. And just to stay in touch with ourselves, not to, first of all, the food that most of us put in our body, the amount of sugar, the amount of salt, the amount of preservatives, the amount of benzoic acid, which is a major processed food a preservative, breaks down into benzene in our bodies, which is incredibly carcinogenic. The amount of all of these kinds of chemicals that we take in, the quality of the air that we breathe, the hormones in the meat and the water that we eat and the water that we drink, are completely desensitizing us to our own bodies. We need to do something just to start to try to feel who we are and what we're really doing here and what the point of all of this endless amount of pressure and work is about. And the truth of the matter is, in America, lots of people are and we're seeing it, lots of people are currently, instead of getting organized and really engaged, they are simply acting out. Acting out because they have no contact with themselves or their environment, and they don't know anything else to do but to be angry and to get violent. And that's not just speaking of Baltimore. This is speaking of Oklahoma and Arkansas and Missouri and Indiana. You see the stupidity of the politicians in Indiana. and their arrogance, you know, in passing that so-called religious freedom bill, which has now completely revealed these people to be the bigots, you know, that they are, and you know, caused them to totally be humiliated and deservedly humiliated. This is really a function of people who are not in contact with their reality. So meditation, you know, it's fine, whether you practice or you don't practice is no concern of mine. I practice because I came to understand a long time ago that I am in this world to grow, and principally in this world to grow love. And it is only by growing love that I develop my own capacity as a human being to evolve and change and be at the same time connected with the people whom I share, and not just the people and all of the living creatures that I share this planet with. And all of it has intelligence. All of it is worthy of respect. If we, you know, human beings are not stupid, innately stupid, and we can, if we were thoughtful, develop ways of living that is respectful to the entire planet, and at the same time, and most fundamentally, respectful to ourselves and to our families and to our loved ones, you know, and all the people we share our life with. But we have to, like, actually be able to do two things. One is we have to know ourselves, and the two is we have to have the capacity to communicate well enough, to listen and to speak carefully enough that we can facilitate a flow with our fellow human beings and not just continuously set off everybody's tensions. This is what we develop through our meditation practice. So, you know, people who are totally say, you know, I'm fine, I don't need to meditate, I think bravo to them. But the thing is, and that's wonderful, don't. You know, let's not clutter up the airwaves.
Well, I want to think of it as people who are really well-intentioned. They want to be good people. They want to do good work in the world. They overall take care of their health, love their family,
great, bravo, fine.
Or the people who, well, my bicycling or my swimming is my meditation, or you know, even those of us who do.
That just reminds me of that wonderful guy. I love this story. And John Sullivan, if you ever watch this vlog, this story is about you. John Sullivan shows up one day at a program that I gave in Cambridge, and he says to me at the end of the program, I mean, I think he came really looking for girls. And he says to me, I know all about meditation. I said, do tell. He says, yeah, I run. I said, that's really cool. I know all about running. I watch TV. So, you know, a meditation practice is about creating an orderly disequilibrium within ourselves that allows us to begin to change our own internal wiring, to excavate from ourselves a finer intelligence and a finer creative energy that will support our connecting with and sustaining a flow with all of the diversity of forms of human beings, and then all of the diversity of forms of physiological life that exist on Earth.
And I can't get that running or swimming in the ocean or I don't know any of the
anything was possible. I won't say anything. I won't say you can't. I will simply say, in 45 years, of practice myself.
And you ride bikes and you run and you
Engagement
do
with
those
people.
things.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I would say I've never seen it. But I'm not saying
It
can't
requires
happen.
stilling the body, connecting to the breath.
Stilling the body is not exactly necessary. I practice all day long, and I'm in motion a lot of my day.
Okay.
You know, these days where so many people are in motion with their fingers and their thumbs and constantly, and all you
can
need
meditate
to do
while
is
you're
do a little mindful
Facebooking.
Fiddling with your electronic device. But here's the thing. Breath awareness should lead you to energy awareness, which leads you to source awareness, which leads you to wholeness awareness. That's the structure of it. Mm-hmm. And when you're out there riding your bike, I mean, very few people are going to be practicing breath awareness and an internalization of their attention to follow the progression of the experience. They are paying attention to pedaling and traffic. They better fucking be paying attention to traffic. You're going to get your ass killed.
That's my argument when people give me the, I get my meditation on my bike or running, and I say, when you still your body and focus on your breath, you can totally, or even then it's still hard to totally focus on my breath, and I'm not doing anything with my body. If I'm running and worrying about lights and traffic and other people and noises, and I mean...
Right, that's not meditating.
Yeah, I don't...
So, I think, it's not my job to define anybody else's goals in their life, and I have no judgment about any of it. Mm-hmm. It all looks unbelievably confusing, frankly. But I found a long time ago that making contact with my own breath and flow, finding an alignment between my body, mind, and spirit, mind, heart, and soul, finding a flow of creative energy within myself was beneficial to me in every single dimension of my existence. And I can say that pursuing that practice, that effort, diligently in my life, I completely believe has provided me with a life experience that has been permeated again and again and again with unimaginable possibility. And so I think now we come to a time when the expansion of human populations and resource availability are becoming critical. There simply will not be the resources available to us to continue to grow our human populations. Now, you may say technology is going to provide us with food or energy, and that's possible. Technology better do something serious about our waste disposal in the very short term, or we're going to have major league problems. We do have major league problems, let's face it. So in this period when we have ever increasing pressures on us, and not just social or cultural pressure, but worldwide pressures that are going to disrupt all of the systems that we have in place today to support and sustain our human communities. I think it is increasingly important that we rise above ideology, that we rise above doctrine and dogma, and we find a way to believe in ourselves and the power of love more than we believe in any book that has ever been written by a human being. It is now more important than ever that we rise above the differences, that we develop the capacity to grow love and sustain connections. And so doing, maybe we will survive as a species. If we don't, I am really quite certain that the extraordinarily idiotic differences between us will destroy us. Any way we look at it, developing our connectedness with our own creative energy and cultivating our capacity to sustain that connectedness among ourselves is the only pathway toward, increasing our ability to adapt is the only way we are going to succeed as a species.
So my initial question, I think, has been answered tenfold here of whatever you're doing out there with your meditation practice or not meditating, or if you're out there running and feeling like that's your meditation, don't knock sitting and connecting to your breath and having a meditation practice until you try it. And if you want to try it, Swamiji has a wonderful, it's about 20 minutes, I think, the meditation that's on our website. It's a really beautiful, simple website. And meditation practice, give it a week, once a day. And much less if you give this kind of practice a few months of your life. As Swamiji just said, after 43 years of running businesses, dealing with chaos, living in a community, and I've heard that you were quite a distance biker at one point in your life.
Oh yeah, I was.
So all the exercise, he comes from a place of experience knowing that an actual meditation practice held by a teacher who has the kind of experience he does, and I'm here to testify it too. There's nothing quite like it. So I hope this is good information for you all from News from the Heart. Stay tuned for another episode. We'll be talking about more exciting things.